today's episode is on dating.
We're at a pivotal stage where they say the most important decision you'll make in your life is who you choose as your life partner, who you choose to have kids with.
Because you can't take that one back.
Exactly, because you locked in. Everyone always says when a man knows, he knows. I don't think that's the case.
You know, there's a joke, right? If you make it 2 years with a girl, she takes you seriously. For dudes, it's after 5. Now that we made the 5 years, I joke with her now it's serious. I don't think I could date in today's society. I think if I were ever to go be single, I think I would struggle. And I think I said
hard
that
out here, bro.
The messaging is create boundaries. If you're in a long distance relationship, just stay away from guys like Mike.
Let's flat out. Big teams, big boys, right? My highs and lows inherit growth, Mr. Deeds. Went from juggling 3 jobs to CEO like I'm Steve. Never been a rotten apple, call me John Appleseed. That's how I bleed. I can see no other man can judge me. Call him Mike, Mr. International, getting cream. Single mother told me worth, and now I'm worth everything. Went from Wall Street to Abu Dhabi, straight rolling in a Maserati with women that feel exotic. My life too prestige.
Man, you didn't have to do them like that, man. You didn't have to do them like that.
It was film day.
Yeah.
We gotta make a statement.
Exactly. We gotta make a statement. Last
What's
flight
going
out,
on,
man.
man?
Flat out.
Welcome back to the Last Fly Out podcast. We're your hosts, Mike and Jay. You already know the drill. Hit that like button, hit that share button, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please give us a follow across all of our social media channels where we could be found at Last Flat Out Podcast. I'm your host, Jay. You can find me at JLubriel26 across all of my social media accounts. And you can find Mike at
If Mike was here,
Back in the Studio.
back at it.
So before we jump into the episode, for those who know Mike is always a man of many trades, like a guy of many skills, and he's dabbled into something new. And I think he wants to present it to the audience before we jump into the episode. We're definitely gonna need this prop before we jump into this topic today. So, Mike,
I
over to you.
figured it is the right time. You know, I got my camos on. You know, we might get a little dirty in this episode, and also we might need some shots as well. So, as you know, I was recently in Tequila on my retreat, and then so I went to the source, the motherland, got our own official product. I'm gonna just call it planta de agua, plant water, you know. So this is smoother than anything you've ever drunk in, Clase Azul and all that. So
Okay.
we're gonna do something different. Let's pour up a little bit for this episode.
Cheers to Planta de Agua by Mike Azul here. He made this in Mexico, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
in tequila.
In tequila. All right, cool, man. You got your own branding and everything.
39%.
Woo! LVMH. Hit him up for the buyout right now before it gets too big. But today's episode is on dating. Last season we talked about the business of dating with Christiana, but not necessarily our own sort of personal situations, right? And I think in a step to sort of be a little bit more vulnerable and to allow the audience to like creep into our lives a little bit, I think it's appropriate for us to talk about what our personal situations are. And for those of you who may have been paying attention to the episode and who follow me on IG, I am in a relationship, very committed relationship. We're about to hit 5 years. And it's been long distance, the majority of it. So that's my situation. Mike, what in your situation?
Yeah, you know, I'm single, dating. You know what I mean?
Cool,
So,
man.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, can we take a
Take a cheers before we get
take
into
a cheers?
Cheers.
And this is not to take a shot to; it's more to sip on. You know,
Exactly.
you
No,
could
this is a sip in tequila.
Yeah,
This is not a
exactly.
shot. This is not Patron.
Exactly. So let me know what you think.
Pretty good, man.
It's smooth.
Yeah. You could put ice in there.
Yeah.
No, this is pretty. Oh, we're
Yeah, it's smooth, and that's a blanco too.
Half that bottle might be gone before this episode is over. All right. So, when was the last time you were? I know you say you're single and dating, but when was the last time you were in a sort of committed relationship?
I'll say 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. And I've been out the game now for 5 years, and
Sheesh.
it's a long time, bro.
5 years, long
time.
distance, or not all the time long distance?
Not all the time,
right?
long distance.
Okay.
She was living here with me for a year. And that was during the time, she's currently in a career transition. That was during the time of online schooling. So she was able to be here while I was in Abu Dhabi. It was a great time. It was the first time we spent so much time together consecutively like that.
Yeah.
And it was a really good experience for us. I really enjoyed it. Obviously some bumps along the way, just like any normal situation, because that's when you really get to know somebody. But it's not really, maybe I would have done it under different circumstances because all the way from Abu Dhabi. We're away from our parents, like away from our family, away from our comfort zone. We really didn't have a lot of friends while we were out here. We had a few. They ended up flaking off. But we spent a lot of time together. And that's when I really got to know Lindsay on a different level when I was there. It was really good to have her around. It was a really positive experience for the both of us. And yeah, but I think starting before that, like the way we met, like everyone always asks us, like, how did you guys meet?
This is a modern dating era. So everybody's on the apps now. You know?
Everybody's on the apps now.
Yeah.
And we actually met over DMs on social media, right? Okay. And this is the true
goes
story.
down in the DM.
I wasn't trying to hit on her. Like I wasn't trying to hit on her. She's a real estate agent, and I wanted some advice on some real estate. And I saw that me and her share some mutual friends on IG, and I figured like, yeah, let me hit her up. Yeah, did she look good? Okay. Yeah, I scrolled up and down the IG. I was like, but whatever. It was just strictly business.
Yeah.
But long story short, the business transaction never consummated, but instead I got a relationship out of it, and that's what I wasn't bargaining for at the time, because that was when I was living in London at that point. I was already 2 years in, and I was having a great time in London as a single guy. It was really the first time where I had a big boy career. I had some money in my pocket. I had my best friends around, and we're just running through the city, man. Like just in every sense of the word, going to every club, all the restaurants, meeting different people. You have to understand, like, me being from New York City, you don't really, it's an international city, but it's not like you get to meet in one place. You're like an Italian, a French person, a Spanish person, Portuguese, a Czech, right? There's so many different cultures in just like the areas we were going in. And it was such a great cultural exchange. Okay. And like the joke amongst my friend is like, you go all the way being an expat in London, you come back with a girl from Brooklyn as your girl.
That's happened to me too.
But you know what? Me dating all those different cultures, I realized that, you know me by now. I need somebody a little tough, right? You know what I mean? Somebody to handle me. So girl from Brooklyn, Dominican, my culture, perfect fit. Like for a long term. She understands me. I don't need to explain stuff and blah, 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 whatever it may be. But just hitting on the note of modern dating, we did meet over the apps, right? But the people I was meeting, I guess an app is Instagram.
Wait, I got a question. So you eventually meet in person because she's showing you apartments.
Sure, we didn't even get to that level. We didn't even get to that level, man. I actually went there. We started talking. I actually know the day because we talk about it. We started talking. We DM'd each other, and we was going back and forth. At first, she gave me her number. Yeah. And I didn't realize that she gave me her number. And towards the end of our DM, because we were going back and forth, I was like, hey, can I get your number so I could talk to you? And she gave it to me again. And then I called her maybe that day or the next day. Yeah. And we spent 7 hours on the phone. Talking. Okay. So you already knew.
One of those.
It was one of those. You got to snatch it quick.
Exactly.
That's it. You're mine,
you
right?
You bag, your legs is up. You know what I mean?
Bro, I remember I was in London. I was supposed to go out with my boys that night. And I never ended up going out, bro. I was just telling you. Yeah, it was one of those, man. It was one of those. I remember it was on a weekend.
Stimulated intellectually.
Yeah. It was a great back and forth. It was the first time in a very long time I connected with somebody like that. And especially when I was just dating casually in London. So I wasn't really like... For me, I'm like a sapiosexual. I need that intellectual stimulation from someone, right? Because I can talk for hours. So I need somebody that can carry a conversation, that's an active listener, that asks interesting questions. And she was able to provide all three of those things. But at the time, I'm not gonna lie, like I wasn't really looking for anything. Like I would have been okay being single, and I was also open to a relationship, because at that point, I was already 2.5 years single, right? So
you living your best life. You're in London.
I was living a great life at that
money,
time.
You know what I mean? Amazing, you're exotic out there. So
it was great. Like I wouldn't, she knows this, I wouldn't take those times back for anything. I would do it the same exact way I did.
You needed that.
I definitely needed that. I definitely needed that. But then like next thing you know, I'm in New York in February, and we're meeting each other for the first time. She was, what's the worst part? And she's probably gonna get mad at me about this, but it's nothing bad. Yeah. First time I meet her, granted, we're talking 7 hours on the phone, texting all day, active talking. Yeah. She's coming off a flight from DR. So I pick her up at the airport.
Oh, so damn, okay.
Go in. Bro, from the drive from the airport to the drive to wherever we were staying, I think she said no more than 10 words.
Oh, for real?
I don't think
And
she
y'all
said more
been
than-
talking
Yo,
and sexing.
She claims
crazy.
it's because she just got drunk the night before. She was partying in DR, so she was
Okay.
like hungover and shit like
Yeah.
that. But like, I just think that she was just, it was shy. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm getting to meet the person that I've been talking to for like a whole. And granted, this is like the first time she's doing something like this. She doesn't know
Yeah.
I'm a stranger. She's a
Are
stranger.
you nervous at this time? Like, damn,
I
shouldn't
was
have did
making
this,
conversation with
like- Oh.
myself. I was talking to myself. I was answering my own questions in the
Yeah.
car. And I was like, damn, like, is she one of those that are about to oop me? Like, you
Yeah.
get what I'm trying to say? Like, you
Yeah.
know, when you meet somebody in person, you're like, oh,
The
wow.
personality don't match in person.
Like,
or it's-
what the
yeah.
hell is going on, man?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, is this gonna work or whatever it is? And then I had dinner reservations. I forgot what the name of the restaurant was that night, but you know, it was Contra in the Lower East Side.
Okay.
1-star Michelin restaurant. You should go if you should go. It was great vibes. That's when she started talking a lot. But at that point, we had a couple of bottles of Riesling down,
Yeah.
and we were chilling and blah blah blah. And then you know we had a great time, man. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Okay.
You know, she had at the time I was still living in London and she was going to London like every month at that point just to come and see me, spend a couple of days there. The trip from New York to London is not that far. You can make a long weekend out of it. She had a flexible schedule. So she was making the time and we were making the time for each other. We traveled a lot. We got to see the world. That's the positive of the long distance relationship. But before I go into the cons,
Before you even go off that, was this your first long distance relationship?
yeah, I'd never done long distance
Okay.
before that. I had no idea. Like, and I think like at the time it was the best thing for me in a way because I was so busy at work. Like if you talk through a lot of our conversations was 4 o'clock in the time, 4 a.m. my time at the time because I was coming out the office. I was working a lot. I was a junior associate, and for those who know in corporate law, junior associate life is just you have no life, right? So. Actually, the time difference worked. I got my own space, but like I felt like I had somebody there at the end of the day to talk to that I looked forward to talking to, and we were able to build that connection.
It could be nice if the frequency is there.
Yeah.
If it's like, how would I say? You have your own space for a couple weeks, and then a week on, you know, you have your girl there and all that. It's nice, you know. It's a healthy space.
It was a healthy space, man.
Yeah.
Like I definitely needed that. And I'm the type of person who likes space anyway.
Okay.
I like to be smothered in spurts, but I also like to be. I'm like a cat. Like I need my time, like to myself.
Yeah,
I just need to go for a walk. I need to do something on my own, at least an hour a day. Whether it's going to the gym, going for a walk to listen to my own music, and that naturally gave us that already with long distance. So by the time we saw each other, I didn't need that space away from her because we already had enough space between us.
Yeah.
Like 3,000 miles between London and New York City. So it was good to have that. And every time we got to with each other, especially in the beginning, it felt like a movie again, right? Like we were like, you know, blooming in a new place. We were traveling to new places. We were discovering new places. We're getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it wasn't always sweet. Obviously, we got into arguments like any other couple, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, because we spoke so much in a long distance relationship, all I had to go off of was our connection with one another, our emotional connection, our mental connection. And obviously, there was a physical one, but I couldn't rely on that every day.
Yeah.
I couldn't be like, damn, my girl's bad. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I had to be like, wow, she's so smart. Wow, she's so empathetic. Wow, she's so intelligent. Wow, she's so driven. And just going based upon that, I don't think I could date in today's society. I think if I were ever to go be single, like I think I would struggle. And I think I said
hard
that
out
in
here,
Chris
bro.
and you out there, that's why you got the camos right now because you in the trenches right now going through all that mud, man. But I think for me, that in today's society, I think a lot of people choose partnership for pleasure rather than for purpose, right? And when you choose for pleasure, you're going off of looks, right? And there's a lot of people we could be compatible with, that we're attracted to, that you can be with, no problem from the start of something, but that wears off after a while.
It does.
Right? It gets old. We've seen it on television. We've seen it in real life. We see it in fantasies. Like it gets old very quickly. And I think that Lindsay was the first person that I dated as a mature adult with purpose, because I saw where her mind was. I saw where her direction's going. Because I want to be compatible with somebody who's going the same direction as I am. Yeah. I want to be able to see in this journey that I'm about to take, that's going to be a long journey, that's going to be bumpy. Is this the right person to take this journey with?
Yeah.
And if I don't have that connection with somebody, then I can't see myself with that person.
Okay.
You know, we're way past the point, bro. Like, you and me, we've dated. We've been with different type of people. We've just experienced different type of things. So the physical aspect of any relationship isn't what gets me going anymore,
it's
right?
not.
It's not what really gets me up anymore. Maybe when I was 22, that's what got me going. But
and I think we're at the point too where we're at a pivotal stage where they say the most important decision you'll make in your life is who you choose as your life partner, who you choose to have kids with.
yeah, because you can't take that one back.
Exactly, because you locked in.
You locked
for
in,
at
right?
least 18 years.
At least
you know?
18 years, right? You locked in with this person. So I think that's the reason why we've been so successful. And people are like, how do you do long distance? Like, we're from New York. Dating from Brooklyn to Queens could be a long distance relationship. You talk about dating from New York to London, New York to the UAE.
Oh, that's crazy.
That takes a large amount of commitment from both ends, right? And I'm just grateful to have it with a person that I see that there's value, that brings a lot of value to my life, that recognizes and keeps me accountable, which is huge for me. I need somebody who keeps me accountable at all times with my friends, with my family, and even the person that I'm with, right? Because there comes a time where when I was in London, I realized I was growing professionally and I was growing my bank account and I was growing everywhere else, but I wasn't growing mentally and I wasn't growing as a person because no one was keeping me accountable from an emotional standpoint. Your boys are always going to be there and your boys are going to call you out. And I have friends that call me out when I'm doing dumb stuff towards my career. Yeah. But men tend to not really talk about emotions a lot, right? Me and you talk about emotions and we and you check on each other, which is great. Yeah. But that's more of a new thing, right? When I was in my 20s, nobody was really checking me emotionally, right? Yeah. Nobody was making sure, you doing all right? You're messing up right now. Yeah, they maybe made because they were so focused on getting the bag, making sure you're the best professional at all. So I was good there, and emotions was just on the side. So I wasn't growing emotionally. And what I like about Lindsay is that she keeps me in check when it comes to emotions. And like I said, I'm a big personality. Maybe off camera, like I could be temperamental. I'm emotional. I'm passionate. I'm sensitive. But it doesn't matter what the situation is. She will tell me, "Yo, you're wrong." Like, you're wrong for this. And I always try to always come back to her and be like, yeah, I see what you're talking about. And I need that because it forces me to become a better person. And that's her biggest attribute. And that it doesn't matter. Like, she won't let me disrespect her. She won't let me talk to her in any way. She stands her own ground. She's a beautiful person inside and out for anybody that knows her. And she's helped me really grow in other aspects that I was lacking. So my professional life is up here. My, financial life is up here. Health. But my emotions were like lagging, bro. Like if I was a NBA 2K player, 99, 2. Like seriously, all my points went to everything else except for my emotions, man.
I feel like you find that a lot too, and like I guess guys like us that are we put our careers first and try to be successful in that kind of way, but then that emotional, that love aspect to our life is kind of lacking,
Yeah, no, you know what? For a long time, because I wanted to get to the bag. You have to realize, man, like I grew up in a humble beginnings, right? Yeah. So for me, like the biggest thing was to never have to go back to being broke. Yeah. I don't want that. I don't want my kids to go through that. I don't want my spouse to go through that. I don't want to go through that. Yeah. I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, whenever I want, wherever I want, right? And I've been blessed enough to be able to do those things 90 to 95% of the time. Obviously, I'm not at the point yet where it's like, cash goes out to the wind and things don't matter, right? But I'm able to do most things that I want to do, right? But it gets to a point where you're like, you're in the streets, you're going through different people, right? Like it kind of becomes like you're a robot. You play the same game. The same thing happens over and over and over again. You start to notice patterns, but you're like, okay, do I need to change, or the people or in the pond that I'm fishing in needs to change, right? Or the type of person I'm looking for needs to change. Yeah. And dog, like honestly, like when I'm
Lindsay, what was it for you? Did you change yourself, or you change, or she?
I just think, look, I was about to touch on that. I just think that Lindsay came she was the right person at the right time.
Timing is everything.
Right. Timing is everything especially I'm going to talk for myself, for me. Yeah. If I had met Lindsay 2 years before that, it would have been done. No way. I wasn't looking for no relationship. I was in London. I was brand new. No way. And they always say that timing is everything. Like when you're ready, like for both genders, right? Yeah. For both genders. I know that men always get like, you're older. But I know dudes who are ready at 25, guys who aren't ready till 50, right? Yeah. Like, so
wait, before you even say that, I want to just dispel this myth. Everyone always says when a man knows, he knows. I don't think that's the case, or it's not about like the person. It to me, it's all about it's the alignment.
Yeah, it took me
Yeah.
it took me 6 months to know that Lindsay was the person. It took me like 6 good months to be like, yeah, this is the person I want to rock with.
Yeah.
I want to rock till the wheels fall off with this person. I even told her best friend that.
Yeah.
I remember we were sitting down 6 months in. I was like, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew 6 months in for sure. But it takes about 6 months to a year. And like, you know what? You know, there's a joke, right? Like girls after 2 years, if you make it 2 years with a girl, she takes you seriously. For dudes, it's after 5. Like now,
After 5 years.
right? Now that we made the 5 years, I
Yeah,
joke with her
you're
like,
like,
now it's serious.
Yeah.
Now it's serious.
We locked in for
We
real.
locked in for real. We locked in. 5 years in the game. I'm a
We
vet.
ain't going nowhere. Like, yo, we gotta make this work.
Gotta make this work. Too much investment in this thing. Now I got sweat equity in this thing. Now for you, man, turning it over to you. So as somebody who's dating right now, I know you got a lit social media account. What's your preferred way of meeting people? How do you like to meet people?
Man, honestly, if I can, it's the organic way, the natural way, just old school, like in person. If I can meet someone in person and you have that initial conversation with them, you see how they are, and whether it's out, not in a club or anything like that, but it's out doing an activity that I enjoy, or at a museum, at a play, or through mutual friends, that's probably the best way.
You know that the mutual friends route is the number one way people get how they meet and meet the person they're gonna marry.
Oh, okay.
It's still the most option. Yeah, followed by the dating apps.
Yeah,
now,
but
right?
I could see that because, you try to surround yourself with like-minded people
Yeah.
like yourself that are on the same level or higher.
Right.
So they're going to introduce you to a person like that.
Now, like dating, I can only talk about dating in London versus dating in New York. But how have you found? I know you haven't really dated in New York because you haven't lived there. But there may have been people that you've met that are from New York. Has there been any differences in the people that you've met, or do you connect with one person versus another type of person? I know you're pretty open to dating different types of people, but has there been a type of person that you're like, all right, this is really who I rock with the most?
Yeah, I feel like it's a big city thing, and I've dated in New York, dated out here in the UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. It's a big city problem. Everybody complains the same. In New York, you hear men complain, you hear women complain. Here, you hear the same thing, And it's about like where are you meeting these people, or the intentions that people have, because in New York, the same type of woman that I have dated in New York, that's, let's say, the typical, I'm just saying, not the typical, but stereotypical or IG model or something like that. And what stereotypically comes with
They were
that.
your chest, man. Yeah, IG models.
No, I don't want to say anything.
Mike is back in IG models.
No.
That's what he's trying to say. But he wants to be humble about it. I've seen it.
No.
I've seen
So-
it.
oh, But no, you know what comes with that, the OnlyFans and all that. That exists in New York, that exists out here, that exists in Miami, LA, all the major cities, London, I'm sure that exists.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there are amazing, sweet, and smart people in those cities as well. So it's just where you align yourselves at. And I've just happened to, I've met the range of them, so
It depends on what Mike's feeling to see which range you want to go into, right?
what I'm about to tolerate.
Yeah, what you're about to tolerate. But
Yeah.
have you found now that the way people meet 10 years ago versus today is almost exclusively online now, right?
It's crazy because you can meet someone in person, have a great conversation, but they'll always want hey, let me get your social media account. And they want to, I don't know, they want to see what you're doing on social media. And then that's when they'll be even more interested. Like, you live here, you're doing this,
Or
you travel here.
They can get dissuaded because you can be an F boy.
Yeah, exactly.
You can be an F boy.
Yeah, exactly,
You know what I mean? Like,
so it's like you win some, you lose some. Like, if you're just posting just to like, not show off your life, but just like, these are interesting things, like, to inspire. Because there's not a lot of Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, blacks that are living in the UAE that could travel as freely as we want and
living
experience some
outside the
great
States
things.
or living outside of their home country, right? Like,
Yeah.
just forget the UAE. It's just
Yeah.
like whatever. But yeah, man, I mean, it's so funny. Don't you think it's funny how people judge a person's personality based upon their social media now? Because a lot of my friends don't have social media at all.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago that would have been cool, but now people judge them and they're asking the question, why don't you have a social media?
You know what? Before, I think that's just changed now.
Yeah.
Because I felt like a couple years ago, I felt like a lot of women loved when a man didn't have a social media account. He's not famous. He's not for the streets.
Yep.
This and that.
Now
was
it's like,
the-
what is he hiding?
Yeah, now it's like, what is he hiding? He has a family?
I'm like, you can't win whether you got one or you don't got one.
Yeah.
If you have one, you don't post, what's he hiding? If you don't have one at all, he's definitely hiding something. If you have
Yeah.
one showing too much, oh, you too sure, you an F-boy, you out there in the street. So what's the right, I don't know what the right balance
I
is.
have no clue what
Let
the
me
right
know.
balance
Let me know what
is.
you think the right balance is, so we can give it to the people out here, all the single guys
I
looking
don't
right
know.
now.
But I know what everybody would like is if you got a social media, post whoever you dating. And that's the right balance.
Yeah, that's the
as
right-
long as you post the person you dating, and it's
Exactly.
all
But
good.
isn't there, like, now that social media has opened up, look, I'm in a relationship. Everybody would know that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't post everything about my life, right?
Yeah.
Especially about my relationship. I like to keep that private.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow, because when you start opening yourself up to people, comments, criticism,
Yeah.
you don't want to hear all that stuff, especially when a relationship is supposed to be between the two people in the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Assuming it's a two-person relationship, right? But it's so. What's been the right balance for you? Like before, like are you the type of guy who, like, you know, when you did have a wifey, you posted to them, or are you now the type to just be like, I'd rather just keep that part of my life private?
You know what's interesting? I went through kind of phases in my dating life, and I probably still need some work. But as you all know, and people that know me know, I was married before, and that relationship was very innocent as far as, bro, I'm posting. You don't care at that point. You posting every day stories, this and that, because that's your person. You never really been heartbroken or disappointed, so you just post freely.
Yeah.
And then when that situation doesn't work out, you know, then you're like, nah, I'm not doing that again. You know, because
Yeah, right.
it sucks when you got an archive. You know what I mean? And then when you online, you're like, yo, this the power couple, this the Jay and Beyonce.
Bonnie
and
and
he
Clyde. Yeah.
Bonnie and Clyde. And then everybody, yo, what happened? Where's the pictures at? Are you not with so-and-so? That sucks.
Bro, you know what's the worst part? That I can tell when people are broken up.
Yeah.
Just when their social media activity has changed
Yeah.
for a significant amount of time, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's just say, for example, like Lindsay stopped reposting the podcast, reposting me for like 6 months.
She throw the quotes on or something like that.
It's a wrap. You know what I mean? It's over. It's over with. But
I gotta start living life for me. Like,
it is true. And then dudes be acting a certain way too. They be like, dedication to the gym. Nothing. Early bird gets the worm or something like that, right? Like,
money on my mind.
Money on my mind. MOH. All right, like, it's like, damn, like whatever. But I was never. I think I've never was in a publicized. I think this is the most Instagram visible relationship I've ever been part of, right? And it's just like, you know, reposting and stuff like that. Like, I'm not. Everybody knows I'm with Lindsay, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm trying to hide that, but I'm not showing them everywhere we go.
Yeah.
I don't. There's trips that me and Lindsay have gone to that she only has those pictures.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm the type of person who likes to, let's keep it between us.
Yeah.
Right. Like, this is for who am I vacationing for? Them or me?
there was actually a study that came out that said couples that remain private, they last the longest.
That's the longest, bro. That is true. And I think me and Lindsay have done a great job at that. I did date somebody in London. I remember, man, like, it just annoyed me. This person had to take a picture of everything.
Oh, that's annoying.
Everything. They wanted to, and they were like, "Oh, I just want." I'm like, "You're doing it for IG. It would be one thing if you did it for you.
Yeah.
But if you're posting everything that we do, and you're not even posting me, you
Wait.
posted everything but me."
So now we're in the modern dating era, right? And we're talking about social media. What's okay for your partner to do as far as, you know, have a beautiful girl and all that? Is it that, say if she wants to post in a bathing suit, and you know, women like to do this sometimes, post in a bathing suit or post on a bed in a bathing suit or something like that.
Are you asking me like what generally, or are you asking me specifically for my relationship? Because Lindsay doesn't
Specifically
post.
for your, well,
So Lindsay doesn't post pictures like that often.
Yeah.
So that's not been an issue. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it if she wanted to do that. Like if you were at the gym working out,
Yeah.
she has a nice body. Like I know where that's going to sleep every night, right? So I have no insecurities about that.
Okay.
So I feel like men or women, depending on who's showing, you know, their body. I think like if you're in the gym doing your thing and you want to show it off, go ahead. Now, if you want to get into situations about why you're showing it off, you're not a fitness influencer, blah, 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 blah. I think that speaks more about you than it does about them. I'm here to make you feel good.
Okay.
What makes you feel good? Now, are you butt naked on this thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not cool with that, right?
Yeah,
Like, I'm
yeah.
not cool with that.
Yeah.
But I just think that every situation is case by case, right? You have to
Okay.
see how is it that you feel about this person? How does this person make you feel? Are you secure in the relationship, right? But ultimately, I don't think anybody should be controlling what they put on each other's social medias, right? You should know the person that you're with,
Yeah,
right? If that's a
yeah.
question that you even have up front, like
Yeah.
that probably already is showing you that there's something
That's
brewing,
there's
right?
something else, yeah,
Right, there's
something
something
else.
about us. But what about you?
Man, it's crazy because like to me I feel like women nowadays, if you're gonna be in the gym, you gotta show everything, all the workouts. If you're only showing the ass workout, you know what I mean? What is that for, or who is that for? You know? Like if you're not showing the full workout, but it's when it comes to the I'm doing the squat
The peach.
Yeah, exactly. I
mean,
don't know. And even though I like that stuff, like, you know, I like that stuff, but there is a difference. And why can't there be a difference between what you like on social media versus like your woman, you know, your partner that you're with? I think there could be a difference.
Right. And what do you think about when you are in a relationship, like commenting or liking certain photos and things like that? What do you? I mean, as a single guy, you could do as you please, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I always put myself in the position: would I really be liking if my chick was over here with fire emojis or that emoji with the guy with the emoji where it's sweating with the tongue out?
That's different, man. That's different.
I'll be like, damn, that's OD. Or like fire
That's
emojis.
OD.
But I think
The fire emoji is safe.
I think the fire emoji. No, I think the fire emoji can be misinterpreted depending on where it's at. Right, like if the person that you're with, guy or girl, is
Yeah.
already feeling insecure, that fire emoji is not going to be read or taken in the best light.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's all contextual.
Yeah.
But the best advice I have: just avoid it.
Okay.
just avoid it. Just avoid the conversation. Just look, scroll past.
Yeah.
That's it. It's on your explore page. That's it. You don't need to interact with it.
Yeah.
If you interact with it, you consciously are saying something. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, yo, that's wild. You feel
Yeah.
me? So, thankfully, social media is not an issue in my relationship. Thank God for that. Obviously, we have like normal course issues that we have in every relationship, but social media is not one of them.
Yeah, okay,
Thank God.
that's
I think Lindsay takes beautiful photos. Like, you know, I like her aesthetic on IG. It's elegant, it's sexy, and it's creative, and it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
She hits all the right balances, right?
Okay.
She shows a little
It's a
skin.
balance.
She shows when she's elegant. She shows her traveling stuff. I just think that you can tell for somebody going back to her social media profile comment that you could tell somebody's aesthetic as you're going down their page. If they show
Yeah.
one type of photo, you kind of already know, brother. Like, you feel me? Like seeing the Birkins and you seeing the, you know, vacations to Turks. She likes a certain type of thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Can you play in that lane? Can you play in that sandbox though?
Now, wait. Are you the type? Do you want to be posted? Like, if Lindsay never posted you, is that a problem?
5 years in, yeah, I think that would be a.
Oh yeah,
I mean, five years in.
5 years in.
Nobody knows.
No, but
about
at what point? What point?
I don't even know if there's like a year, 6
Yes.
months, or whatever. I don't know if there is. You know how it always starts? Like it always started with hands
Yeah.
on the story. Then it goes to like the arm.
Yeah.
Then the bottom of your face.
Yeah.
Then eventually you get the in mirror picture that's blurry.
Yeah.
And then like at 8 months, 9 months in, when they feel kind of secure, they're like, all right, this is my man.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Because, you know, you don't want to have to explain, backtrack, who's that guy, blah, blah, blah. So I
you wanna
understand or whatever.
soft launch. They
For
call
me,
it.
I go from 0 to 100. It's like nobody, and then you just see wham, DMs.
Followers get
Dead.
lost.
Followers get lost. I literally told Lindsay when I posted her, I literally wanted to say RIP DMs.
Yeah.
RIP to my DMs. That's a joke. That's a joke. But honestly, like you start losing followers and it's a done, man. But yeah, it's been you know, in this modern age of dating, it hasn't really affected me because I've been with her for so long, so I haven't really been affected like that.
Have you ever come across this? I feel like a lot of people are dating based on what they see on social media, based on the peer, and also on peer pressure of just society in general. I feel like a lot of people have this time pressure where we've been dating for 4 months. What are we? We should be in a relationship. When it's not even quite ready to be in a relationship, you know what I mean? Where the cake fully hasn't baked yet. And particularly with me, if I'm gonna do a long distance relationship, I see that it looks good at first, you know, because
looks good at first,
yeah,
baby.
it looks good at first. Oh, I'm gonna come visit you. Yeah,
always
we'll be
looks
out
great.
there. But do they really know what it takes to be in a long distance relationship?
Probably not.
How many visits have they came over? Because the first visit is always
It's a movie.
Yeah, it's a tourist. They want to come here. We got to see this from out here. Got to go to the Burj. Got to go wherever. It's a tourist thing. But you know what it takes. So it's like, this is not going to be every visit. Like, are you really coming out here to see me? Can you just come out here and we could just do normal everyday life? You know?
You know what, man? Like I agree with you. I remember in the beginning, obviously when Lindsay was visiting London, it was touristy at first, but then it felt good just to do nothing, not have anything planned, just being on the couch talking ish, watching Netflix, cuddling all day, ordering normal food, not having to go out to a restaurant every time that you're in, and like that is really what I loved about her. Comfortable silence, doing normal stuff. We like a lot of the same things, right? She likes her own space. I like my own space. And we're able to coexist in the same space without having to give each other active attention.
Yeah.
We're able to passively be together when we're focusing on our respective crafts and on whatever we're focusing on. But there's not that need to be overly attentive to each other because we kind of could feel each other's energy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful part about my relationship, and that's what I love. And I think that.
And is there other pressure? So I'm at the beginning stage. If it's okay, 4 months, is there other pressures? You're 5 years in. Is there other pressures as, hey, it's 5 years. What are we doing?
Of course, right? I mean, yeah, like obviously there's the you guys been together for 5 years, but we're in an unconventional relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like we've only lived together less than one of those years of those 5, right?
Yeah.
Like, can we at least get our first apartment together?
Yeah.
Can we get our first dog together first? And she doesn't, like, shout out to her. She doesn't really pressure me on this because she knows her bag's secured when it comes to me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know this is the person I want to marry. I know this is the person I want to be with.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no pressure about that. But for me, it's all about timing.
Yeah.
Marriage is about timing. Marriage has to be, that's a lifelong commitment.
Yep.
Any lifelong commitment needs to be thought out about, right?
People don't do this process of figuring it out.
Can we think about this?
Yeah.
Like, this is forever,
Yeah.
right? This is 40 years, right? So before you sign on the dotted line, it's a legal relationship and it's also a spiritual one.
Yeah.
Are we are the right people for each other? Can we at least get to a place where it's the correct platform and the right foundation for us to grow and give ourselves the best chance to make it to the end? Yeah. That's always been my perspective on marriage.
Yeah.
It's not the person. I know the person. Me and her want to get to a certain place before we make that commitment and we jump to it, because we want to grow a family together.
Yeah.
We want to have those systems in place whereby we're not struggling for those things, right?
Yeah.
And I just think that people don't think about that because they're enamored with the status of being married rather than the actual reality of being married.
With the status, with the timing, tick, tick, tick. But it's like, are you really?
Somebody claimed me.
Exactly.
I think that's what a lot of people want. Like, somebody claimed me,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, can we think about how you got claimed, by who you got claimed, how you got claimed, when you got claimed? Those are all the other things that you need to really be focusing on, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of things downfall, because people are get caught up in the lust and the emotions and they want to, whatever. But it's a rational decision that needs to be made, right?
Yeah. And they're high off that honeymoon stage, early on when things are great. And it's like, okay, let's do this. Why are we not taking that next step?
And before we sign off, I guess, like, as a guy who's dating and he may be looking for that person, what are some of the things that you personally learn from your past relationships that you want to take moving forward so that you can have that successful long-term relationship? Because I know you personally, and I know that you eventually want to, you know, settle down and have a family. What are some of the things that you're looking for? What are some of the strategies that you're implementing? What are some of the things that you're doing to sort of weed out the bad candidates, as you would say? Bad candidates are good every once in a while. You feel me?
Not for too long, though.
Not for too long. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, it's more so putting in boundaries that I never had. You know, when you're dating someone and you're just caught up in the moment, it's just you're going with the flow. So putting in boundaries as far as like what a healthy relationship looks like to me. What things I'm not gonna stand for, what are my non-negotiables, and I think that's been key for me. And to like, you know, I have my non-negotiables, and you have to stand on it. You know, so I think that's what I've been trying to implement. I think I've been successful, but it takes time. You know, like if love was so easy, everyone would be married and happily ever after. You know, so just being patient and just being intentional as well. So, you know, and of course, nobody's perfect. So, you know,
you're going to live with those bad traits about that person, right? It's always like, how much tolerance do I have for that?
Exactly. So, what am I willing to compromise? And it's crazy because dating nowadays, I feel like it's harder, you know, and it's easy to just like, you know, swipe through. And just,
it makes it
next, someone's going to be better and all that.
Anymore.
So, and on both ends, you know, someone's not willing to put up with me and I'm not willing to put up with them. So,
peace.
You know?
Right, that's what it is.
Yeah. So finding that balance and finding someone who genuinely cares and it's like, all right, look, let's figure this out.
Yeah. I think, whew, man, God forbid if I ever became single again, some of the things I would implement is no more long distance relationships.
Yeah.
That's number one.
That's
tough,
hard,
man. Bro. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work, bro. Mm-hmm. Yo, man, sometimes, you know what? I'm going to just say it out loud before we sign off. Like, bro, being in a long distance relationship and having to like sometimes be like, you know what? It's okay to go out with your boys.
Yeah.
But if you're going out every weekend, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. I'm sorry. You're asking for trouble, bro. Like, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble if you do. You're going to open yourself up. There's plenty of beautiful people around the world on her end, my end, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is,
It
right?
is.
So sometimes you just need to make the mature decision. Stay home, watch some Netflix, watch a couple podcasts, go to sleep and talk to your girl. That's
and
it.
It has nothing to do with, do you love this person
No.
or not? It's just human nature and, you know, but you got to be disciplined. So if you're disciplined, just avoid it at all costs.
Just avoid it. And it's also, you have to know what you got home.
Yeah.
You have to know what you got at home, right? Like, you have to know, like, I tell you all the time, man, if I lost this, it would hurt. Over something like that, that's dumb, a dumbass decision. Nah, I can't do that. So I got to back it up. But I guess for all our listeners out there, the messaging is create boundaries. Yep. If you're in a long distance relationship, just stay away from guys like Mike every weekend, right? And get yourself some agua de planta, right?
Yeah,
get yourself some agua de planta at in Abu Dhabi. It's a factory, and I'm just kidding. Out of Al Raha Beach, I think that's the factory, right?
Al Raha Beach, man, one of one.
So. One of one. But again, man, this was such a great conversation. I feel like it's so therapeutic to talk about these types of things with another dude, obviously, right? Because these are not things that guys talk about a lot, right? These are good things that guys that don't talk about. And I think that it's important to open up that emotional aspect of your life with your friends, especially your male friends. But to the audience, thanks for tuning in once again. Again, you know the drill. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on social media at Last Flight Out Podcast. You can follow me, Jay, at JLubriel26 across all my social media accounts. And you can follow Mike at
If Mike Was Here. One more thing too. Don't DM us your comments. Comment on the page. We're gonna write right back to you.
Please comment on the page. People, I be getting too many DMs, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's it. That's a wrap. See you guys next week. Same time, same place. Peace.
My life too pristine.
Man, you didn't have to do them like that, man. You didn't have to do them like that.
It was film day.
Yeah.
We gotta make a statement.
Exactly. We gotta make a statement. Last
What's going on, man?
Flat out.